So, so, oops. Okay. Welcome everybody to the April 23rd, 2025 Executive Board meeting. It's our normal monthly Executive Board meeting. And so the agenda is in front of us. I didn't get that onto the NCAC website for this meeting, but it's pretty straightforward, nothing sort of out of the ordinary there. It looks like we have a quorum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people here, so we can move on with doing business. The conflict of interest question to officers and chairs. So declaring whether you have a conflict of interest with the agenda for today or not. I do not. Gary?
I have no conflict.
Okay. Alex?
I have no conflict.
And Randall?
No conflict.
Michael?
No conflict.
Okay. And Nancy?
No conflicts.
Okay, thanks. Hopefully everybody had a chance to look at the March 26 meeting minutes. I took a look at those and I didn't have any corrections to those or additions or anything. Did anybody else have anything to add to that or correct?
And great to me.
I saw no.
Nothing from me.
Okay.
Chris did send me one thing. There was a misspelled word, and I'm not sure why the spell checker didn't catch it. So I
Okay.
re-uploaded the corrected version up onto the share.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Gary. Okay, so without objection, we'll approve the March 26 meeting minutes. Okay, we'll get right into it. Bylaws Subcommittee check-in, Nancy.
Okay. So as we discussed, probably not completely legitimately, but at our special board meeting last week, we are, as a result of the attendance at the first feedback session, as well as input at the membership meeting, we have canceled a bunch of our feedback sessions. We're taking this as a real compliment that people trust us. All the feedback so far has been very positive. So our next feedback session will be this Saturday for the executive board. It will be a special executive board meeting. And Gary and I are actually going to meet on Friday morning to talk about the secretary job and the communications task force job ahead of time. But we're really looking forward to all of you giving your input to these, because the executive board people are the ones who are really going to probably use the policies, procedures, and references document the most. And of course, Michael's part of our committee, our subcommittee, and has really contributed quite a bit as well. And but the whole committee has been great. So I'm not planning to just throw up the current feedback session schedule, but we're just planning to have 2 others, kind of a Wednesday night and a Saturday morning, kind of back to back in early May, and then the final one, May, I think it's 17th, which would be 2 weeks before the membership meeting, to the special membership meeting to adopt the policies, procedures, and references document, as well as a few related bylaws changes that have come up. And so that will be noticed. We also are submitting everything a little bit later through Sarah, but she's been apprised of everything. And she plans to apparently put the document, send it through the county council. But it is a much more living document. We can make changes to that much more freely than we can the bylaws. So I think it should be pretty smooth. I think the only thing that she might want to have some say in would be the area of political people coming in to talk about ballot measures if they're coming from the county. But so far, she has not said anything about that. So I think we're good. Things seem to be going swimmingly. Tom has done a great job of updating the document, creating a PowerPoint presentation, and Gary's going to be working on putting a button on the main page, the homepage of the website, where people can get the folder with the latest documents, because a lot of that has been removed with our canceled meetings. So I think that's all I have. Michael, would you like to add anything to that?
No, I think, first of all, let me do a general statement. Nancy always points out how well working this group is, and I have a lot of experience in teaching how groups run, and this has always been an amazement to me. It's an excellent group, and they work well together, and Nancy is a star when it comes to leadership. And Mark, if you ever run on down the road, which we won't let you, but if you do, I know she's shaking her head.
Yeah. Yeah.
This business about actually we call them standing rules, and they can be changed at any time, and they give everybody an opportunity to figure out how to do this business. And all of us understand from time to time that, we're not going to be here forever. And so our legacy is going to be leaving a really, really nice set of how-tos for the next group of people. This is a marvelous document, and it's come from scratch. And I think that the leadership is going to have a very, very nice gift in hand when that time comes.
Thank you, Michael, very much. And so I think, does anyone have any questions about the document or about what we're doing? I just want to also acknowledge Mark for attending almost every one of our meetings, giving lots of great input throughout. So thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
And
thank
I
you.
also want to acknowledge Gary and Candace for all their work keeping up with both our subcommittee and Rand subcommittee, and all the stuff going on. So I guess the only other thing I want to say is Saturday will be a board meeting. So Mark, do you want me to send you an agenda for our part of it? It's kind of a single issue board meeting that you'll be running that, and I guess you could just turn it over to me to lead the discussion on the policies and procedures. And I think our whole subcommittee will be there.
Okay.
I believe. I can't
Okay.
remember if Susan's in the air or not, but I think. I know, and
okay.
I think maybe Tom is actually not going to be there as well.
Okay.
But most of us will be there.
You can send me what you have. I don't think that agenda is published currently for
No.
Saturday,
It's
but
not.
we'll do what we did today, which is throw it up on the screen, and we'll do the normal beginning, starting stuff, and then just get right into it. So
That sounds good. I'll send that out tonight to you.
okay, and Nancy, can I ask you?
And Gary.
Oh, go ahead.
And Gary.
Okay. So can I ask you, I was writing the other day, and I got some things I want to talk about today, but so the bylaws meetings, you can tell me, Nancy, if this is correct. I have the 3rd and the 7th and the 16th and the 30th and the 31st. I mean, is that correct?
Well, let
I
me
can't,
actually
okay.
pull it up because
Okay.
I don't have it. I should have actually had it ready to go, but
I know some of
the
those are
feedback
feedback and
sessions.
some are just normal, but
right.
yeah. So
Let me just throw up the 3 feedback sessions schedule.
okay.
I'm going to share it as it comes out. So our bylaws subcommittee meetings are the 1st and 3rd Friday of the month at 9 a.m. The adoption meeting is May 31st at 1:30
Right.
p.m. And let me share
1:30? Okay.
1:30 p.m. because I think farmers market's on by then.
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
allowed to share. And Gary, can you take the agenda off, please?
Yes.
Thank
How's
you.
that? Okay.
That's good. So now let me share. Okay. So can everybody see the feedback session schedule?
Mhm.
Okay, so we had the one on 4/9, so a special executive board meeting Saturday, and then we have one on Saturday, May 3rd in the morning at 10, and Wednesday, May 7th at 7 o'clock, just so that people can come. Might be weekdays are more important, or weeknights are more important. And at this point, we're thinking kind of an overview. Tom did a presentation that has the summary, kind of a policy statement summary on one slide, and then if people are interested, more detail on the subsequent slides. So rather than covering various topics in each one, like we were originally planning to do. And then Saturday the 17th would be a final overview, because we anticipate making some changes as a result of the feedback sessions, plus our own meetings. So interspersed in there are the meetings for just our committee. So there's one on May 2nd, Friday morning, May 2nd, and Friday morning, May 16th. And then another one on June 6th. So that'll be after the adoption meeting, but a week before the general membership meeting on June 14th. And then I'll be talking with the subcommittee about plans for the summer, but I'm kind of thinking summer off after all this. So I don't think I'll get much objection.
Yeah.
Michael, did you have your hand up at one point?
Oh, I was waving to my wife. She just.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the schedule.
Okay, the 16th is not feedback, it's just your normal meeting.
Right.
Or no, is it?
Well,
No, the 16th and 17th, then you're right.
The
Yes.
7th.
Yes, the 17th is the
Okay.
feedback session, and the
And
16th
the
is our normal
16th is a
meeting.
normal, okay.
Mhm.
16, 5/17, okay.
And so what we've been doing is putting the latest documents in the meeting folder, and
Mhm.
there is going to be putting that in a button on the homepage, but we'll also have it in the meeting folder for each of the feedback sessions. And then we have a
Are you
different
meeting
meeting
on the
folder.
30th? Are you meeting on the 30th, Nancy?
We are not.
No, 31st.
Oh, okay,
The
got it. All right,
31st, no,
okay.
yeah, we're not meeting on the 30th.
Yeah, okay.
Unless
Got
we
it.
are really
That's fine.
panicked, but no, we
Yeah.
better be done by then.
Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
yeah. No meeting on the 30th for us.
Okay.
So just the
Okay.
31st, and we're
Yeah.
hoping we get quorum. You know, that's been a little tenuous lately.
Mhm. Okay, all right, good.
That brings up another small issue that
Uh-huh.
I think is worth pointing out, and that is that people are very confident in what we're doing, and that was not the way it began. But it's become standard now. The comments are they're lovely comments. They're very supportive and so on. And the fact that only 2 or 3 people show up tells me that folks are comfortable with the way things are going. One of the things that we recognize is that one of the tasks in this PP&R deal is to make this executive board the job much easier, much more disciplined, and much more predictive, and not so much work and time as in the past. And I think we're able to do that quite well. And I think you'll be pleased when you look at it all and you're able to consume it. But the other thing that's on the other side is that, and we've talked about this, and that is transitions from one set of group of people to another group of people and so on, because we're not all going to be here forever. But how do we affect those transitions? How would we make those smooth and easy? And with a lot of confidence in the membership that things are going to continue on, and I think that's worth a comment in this group right here, that we probably need to consider that and think about it and maintain recognition of transitions, because they're important and sometimes difficult. We don't want them to be. Want them to be simple and just move on with the next group of folks.
Yeah.
I learned that from my grandchildren, by the way.
And one thing that does remind me of, Michael, is that we did somehow miss in the bylaws this situation we have right now, where we didn't have any candidates for a officer position at the election. So we are planning on correcting that. for the May 31st meeting to allow for, an election at the June meeting, if nothing else, or a special election. We have vacancies in there for people who quit midway through, but or somehow leave midway through, but not for this. So that'll be one little thing. And of course, the bigger issue there is finding someone, unless we can talk you into it, Gary, which we would love to do.
No comment.
That's pretty standard answer.
Yeah.
We're done.
Okay. All right.
So-
Thank
so
you. Oh, go
Let
ahead,
me
Randall.
just throw one, one more compliment is that this is so foundational to having this, the NCAC function that was really missing previously and made things very confusing. So I think it's really strengthens the function of the NCAC, and as someone who suffered from the disorganization and ambiguity of the previous document, I'm very grateful to all
Yeah.
work you guys have done in such a well-organized and well-presented manner. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you,
Yeah.
Rand, and thank you also for being so supportive of my coming in your meetings. Anyway, I think we're doing great work together. So thank
Yeah,
you.
I
And
do.
you're certainly doing a great job with your subcommittee.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, Rand, you're on. So I emailed Rand to get dates. We're talking about dates. Nancy, you gave us some, and Rand's gonna, I think, share with us some and updates. So go ahead, Rand.
Right, so we, as you're aware, we turned in the preliminary item to Tom sent it to Sarah. And then we're kind of in, as Sarah wrote back today, we're kind of in no man's land with the middle housing thing here for a while. There is work to be done, but until they consider what has been done, she's saying you just probably should just put it on hold until I get back to you with what we're doing with what you gave us. So I think our subcommittee is, I would say, somewhat looking forward to getting back to the community plan proper and reviewing kind of beginning to end to see where we are, what's missing, what new things have come up. I have a number of things from the parking in Nescoin, talking with the Public Works Department and the fire chief at what would it take for walking through the entire village to figure out what could be parking on one side of the street, things like that. And there's some other fire issues, big bomb fires, things like that. We're looking at Nehalem's ordinances. And so there are some things that we haven't put in there that we want to put in, and this will give us a chance to get ahead on that. So we're just going to meet on every Monday at 2, just have a regular meeting week to week to put our house in order and get the community plan sorted out. So that's going to be our schedule and our focus. I put down every Monday for the next 7 weeks, and I don't think that conflicts with other schedules, I hope. And so it's every Monday. I can read you the dates, but basically it's every Monday from here until into June. And look, if I look at the
Except
calendar.
Memorial Day, right? You won't do that.
Well, the 28th is Monday. Is that Memorial Day itself?
The 26th, I think.
Yeah, I think it's Friday, the 26th.
Yeah.
Is it?
It doesn't
No.
say Memorial
No,
Day.
it's
No.
Monday it's Monday
No,
the
it's
26th.
No, it's Monday the 26th.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at April.
Yeah.
Oh, goody gumdrop. So let's take that one out.
Okay.
My son's birthday is the 27th, so I always think it's on his birthday. Not true. Okay, well, Gary,
that
you're
one out.
here to hear
Okay.
that we're removing that one. Monday, the 26th. Not a meeting. So I guess it ends up being 6, not 7. That's probably why I put in 7, because I'd come up with 6 out of 7. So those will be the meetings. That's the 5th, the 12th, the 19th, the 2nd, and the 9th of June.
And in the 16th of June.
Well, maybe I had
It-
did I add that also?
Is that right? Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're
Got it.
getting most of the way through June with these week-to-week
Yeah.
meetings. And that's kind of the agenda that we have in store for us. The Sarah's thing is about, she sent an update today. I won't go through the whole thing, but I believe I forwarded it to well, maybe probably not Michael, but to Nancy and Mark and well, certainly there was like 12 people on it. If you want to see Sarah's latest thing about middle housing and what she's doing, it basically gets down to they're getting out into late July before the Board of County Commissioners hearings. And then, so we're just going to be getting stuff back from them here and there, but there'll be hearings for both the county commissioners and the planning commission that if we want to add things, make sure we get something in front of them that they can understand before adoption, we would go to those hearings. We wouldn't have a meeting about it. They're having a meeting, we would attend and make our pitch.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of now in their ball court for a while. And we just have to make sure we keep our eyes on it and understand. I'm hoping Sarah will keep us appraised of any pushback as we go along, so we know what to prepare for. So that's,
So Rand, can
Yes.
I ask you, so these are just normal meetings on Mondays that you've listed here, the 6 Mondays. Are you, are you going to have feedback sessions
so what,
in this? Okay, go ahead.
yeah, so what I
Okay.
want to do is get an assessment within the subcommittee of what we have to do and how we're going to do it. And then when we start getting things in place, we can take a section and go and schedule a feedback session. I don't want to schedule a
Okay.
feedback session before I know we have something to get feedback on. So
Okay.
since I have a regular schedule of our committee meetings and anyone can attend, for something like a feedback or a general membership meeting or anything like that, we'll say, okay, we need 10 days lead notice. Let's get on this and we'll schedule a meeting based on the need and the desire for feedback on specific issues.
So I think, Rand, I just want to be clear, and Nancy, you can chime in here. I think that for a subcommittee meeting, it's a 7-day notice.
Right.
Correct.
But for a general membership meeting, it's a 14-day notice. So
Okay.
Correct.
when you talk about feedback sessions, you know, I don't know, Nancy, you've done them as a bylaws feedback session.
We have, as long as we're just
Yeah.
asking for informal feedback.
Yeah.
We're not taking a vote
Yeah.
for it. That's anything
Yeah.
meaningful. We do maybe straw polls, then
Yeah.
they're just bylaws subcommittee meetings. But if they're something where there is an official vote to send something, then they become a membership meeting at that point.
So I'd prefer, Rand, that you do the feedback sessions as a steering committee meeting for feedback. It's more nimble that way. It's a 7-day notice instead of a 14-day notice. And what do you think about that?
No, I agree. I
Okay.
think the committee
Okay.
will understand when it's getting to a point and
Right.
we'll only call some other kind of meeting if we see that there's some real stuff to handle in that meeting and get the document out
Okay.
beforehand. So certainly 2 weeks would be enough if we're going to do that. And the other meetings will be pretty directly going through the text and
Yeah.
here's a new
Yeah.
point. How do we want to say that? Here's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Anybody, and hopefully people will attend those, but we've had some diehards, Nancy and yourself and a few others attend those. And because the only time we can meet and talk about this are those meetings,
Yeah.
have to go
Yeah.
through 2 or 3 now to really get a handle on Because we're going back to a document we kind of left 2 months ago.
Yeah, okay.
And
So, so
Hey,
we need a, oh, go ahead, Gary.
So that kind of brings up an item that, if I can interject here, that was not on your agenda that we need to talk about. So last week there were some email communications about extending or upgrading our Squarespace email campaigns so that we could get more emails out per month. It seems like for the first time, we kind of exceeded the 5 that we needed to get out. But I was kind of waiting to see, we need a executive board approval since that's going to be an increase in expenditures. And that's something we want to do before the end of the meeting today so that I can go ahead and get that going. Because as it is right now, we're not able to send out another email to membership until May 5th.
Okay. So yes, we want to do that. Let's look at the bylaws on that. Is it what- let me
It
go
would
back.
just be a
Okay.
motion.
Just a
I could
motion
defer
to,
Michael here.
Mhm.
Under maybe Chris's report or your report, Gary.
And it's brought forward from the committee, so there's no second necessary. Just toss it out there and have a discussion and maybe even a
Okay.
debate.
Okay, I would move that we increase our increase our capacity to send out emails. I think that would entail moving on the Squarespace program. I think we're at a, Gary, remind me of, we want to go to a pro.
Yeah, we'll be moving from what they call the core plan
Yes.
to the pro. And let's see, I don't have the actual, trying to look for the cost factor. It's the same table that I had sent out. I think everybody got a copy of that email.
It was about it was $166, I think, more than what we're paying now.
Per year.
Per year. And I believe it gives us a capacity for, I think maybe 20.
20 a
Is it
month.
20, I think is the number I saw.
Yeah.
So, so I'm in favor of doing that. What do other folks feel? A little bit of a
I'm in
conversation.
favor.
I think
Okay.
we have to, and
Yeah,
there were
yeah.
donations to support that. So I think
Yeah,
the cost is
right.
covered.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense to me too.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, so we'll approve that, and I'll let Chris know. I don't know who
Chris
orders
is
it.
here, by the way.
Oh, is Chris here? Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, there you are, Chris. Okay. So Chris, do we have to, would you make that change or does Gary make it? I think I saw you can give Gary the information to make that financial purchase. Is that right?
I know there was an email exchange a week or two ago on it.
So I think the way it's set up now, the actual Squarespace, the websites has to be transferred. It's transferred to each secretary. So I actually can do the change. There's already a Visa card that will be charged. The last 4 digits of are 3212. I don't know whose personal Visa card that is. It's not mine, luckily. But Chris, I'm assuming you're aware of whose that is, right?
That could be our bank debit card
Ah,
that they
Okay.
have on file that they've been automatically charging.
Okay.
So I believe that's it.
It has so it's got your name and address as the billing address. It won't show me the full Visa card number, but it ends in 3212.
Yeah, I believe 3212. I believe that's it. I can check when I'm off I'm multitasking. I'm on another conference call that I'm on
Okay.
mute on right now.
okay. So
Okay.
that should work.
Thank you, Chris.
All right. Thanks for bringing that up, Gary.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so Gary, I think it, I think Chris is going to confirm that with you, and if that's correct, then go ahead and make that change. You can.
Okay. All right, will
Okay.
do.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Let me make a note of that. Squarespace.
So I think we had a vote to approve. So
Yep,
We did.
we did.
So back to the discussion about the feedback sessions versus meetings, I think the key point is that if either of our subcommittees or anybody else has something that's going to go out to the county or has an official vote, then that
Absolutely.
involves sending something external, then it needs to be approved by the membership. And I
Okay.
think, and we really appreciate the community plan subcommittee holding that special emergency. No, that's a yes,
Urgent.
urgent meeting.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
That's kind of what I assumed, but thank you for the clarification.
Okay. All right, so let's see. So I'm just trying to keep up on the calendar. So Rand, you've got your meetings. It looks like you're going to do 3 meetings in May, and then we'll have another executive board meeting late May. I think just days before we have the 31st meeting. I think it's that week. And we can talk about June and going into the summer and what meetings might look like in the summertime. Got Nancy's meetings. Okay. We have
Can someone
just
just send me
oh,
a
go
copy
ahead.
of all those schedules so that Candace and I can start working on the Zoom, setting those meetings up in Zoom?
Yeah, I did send you the dates, but you'll have to cross out the Memorial
26.
Day one.
Yeah.
And I have an agenda for the first one, but I don't have any more agendas besides the
Yeah.
first one. Let me know if you didn't get that, but I believe I sent that to you. Did you get it today? Earlier?
Okay,
see.
yeah, I have, yes, so we'll cross out the 26th. These are all at 2 p.m.
Yeah,
And then Nancy, if you can send me something on yours as well.
I can. I've sent you the feedback session schedule, but I'll put it in as a list with all of the committee meetings, subcommittee meetings with the feedback sessions and the May 31st meeting.
Okay.
I can send that out tonight too.
Okay.
But basically, our meetings, Gary,
Mhm.
are the first and third Friday of the month, typically from 9 to these days 11:30.
Okay.
But that will change, I hope, for this summer. I think we're all ready for a break.
Mhm. Okay, so Gary, you're going to get the dates of the meetings. I wrote them down here so that I can update my calendar, but all right, thank you for Nancy and Rand. Outreach Task Force check-in. I know Susan's not here today, but I was contacted by Kim, I think it's Kim Noreen and Carol Hoke, who would like to be on the Outreach Task Force. I can't remember. They're in different neighborhoods. One might be the hills of Neskowin, and
yeah,
I'd have to look, and maybe Sahali. I can't.
I believe that's accurate. I think
Okay,
Carol's
so
been Ilse Neskowin and the other person.
okay is in Sahali.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was looking at the bylaws, and I did receive something. It was brief. We'd like to be involved. We'd like to be the representative for our areas. I did not speak verbally with each person. I think Susan has spoken with them. And so, according to the bylaws, the executive board appoints task force members. And
Correct.
so what I'd like to do today is formally appoint Kim Noreen and Carol Hoke to the outreach task force. That's what I'd like to make a motion to do. So any discussion about that?
So we don't have a second, Michael. We just
Sure, go
vote.
ahead.
Oh,
I'll
I guess
second it.
we
Well,
get a
I'm
second.
the parliamentarian. I can't second it.
I jumped to the, yeah.
I'll third it.
Okay. Okay.
Do you know where
I-
these two people live? Did you
I
say?
don't,
Haley
yeah, I
Hills?
don't, I think it's the Holly Hills is one is going to represent the Holly Hills and the other is going to represent the hills of Nesco. So they live in those areas.
It's lovely.
I know
Um,
Susan's been making sure that people that are getting on there are from the different neighborhoods, but
mhm.
yeah, I certainly support it.
Yeah.
Have we ever officially appointed Susan as to be on the task force? I think maybe we could add her name into your
Okay.
motion.
Okay, and Susan Schomburg on the task force. So in the motion, we'll add Susan Schomburg, Carol Hoke, and Kim Noreen. And I think Michael seconded it. Maybe we should second it again because we got it.
Second, I'll second.
Okay, all right, Nancy, thank you. Now we have 3 instead of 2 that we're discussing. And if there's any comments or any discussion, we can have that now. Otherwise, we'll just move to a vote on these. And hearing no discussion, so we'll just do a verbal vote. I'm a yes.
Yeah.
Aye.
I mean,
Okay.
yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. It's a unanimous. Okay, Chris, thank you. So that's unanimous. So those 3, Kim Noreen, Carol Hoke, and Susan Schomburger have been appointed to the outreach task force formally. So we'll report on that at the next full membership meeting.
Right.
Okay. So future meetings and discussion, I just just a gloss over the calendar here. So on the 29th, we have a general membership meeting. I guess a term might be special general membership meeting, and that is where Mary Faith Bell, the Board of County Commissioner,
Yeah.
is going to speak in favor of ballot measure 29-183, I think is the number of it, which is to increase the TLT tax from 10% to 14%. I reached out to the state elections division to see if they could tell me if there was any group that had filed in opposition to that ballot measure, and there was. They said you could ask locally. Nancy had already asked locally whether there was one. And so they gave me a website, a state website. I could look up each ballot measure. Anybody could do this and see who's filed for or against or what committee and so on. And there was nobody in opposition to that. The only one that had filed was a group that Mary Faith Bell was attached to. So I contacted Hillary Gibson because she's attached, I think, to Oregon Coast Hosts, and shared with her that we were looking for somebody to speak in opposition if there was somebody that would want to do that. The opportunity is there. She was thankful to get a call and to be asked the question. She's emailed me back and forth a little bit. She said that Oregon Restaurant and Lodging Association has said that they prefer to let local people speak, and so they're not going to send a representative from that organization to speak. I think she suspected that Oregon Coast Hosts would take the same stance. And so to date, I have nobody that has contacted me to speak in opposition to that ballot measure. And that might be where we end up. And if that's where we end up, then that's where we end up. But I feel like we've made an effort. Hillary's going to get back to me again, and maybe somebody will come in and speak to it. I explained to her that it's straightforward, 15 minutes for each party to present, and then 30 minutes of Q&A. So we'll hear more, but that's going to be on Tuesday. I think it's at 7 o'clock, from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock.
Hey, Mark,
And
I
then
So
after,
go ahead.
I won't be, I'll be in CERT
Right.
training. So
Right.
Nancy, you said you'd be able to host the meeting
Mhm.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Mark,
Okay. Thank you, Nancy.
Mark, I think it's important that you have a record of attempting to find opposition, just as
Yeah.
a prudent thing to do.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's okay just to put it in the minutes of this meeting. And
Yeah.
that'd be fine.
Okay. Okay.
You maybe have the link to the website that you found that had the documents, but yeah, I agree. I think that's a good point, Michael.
Yeah. Okay.
The other thing is, Sarah has mentioned that at other CAC meetings where the Commissioner Bell has spoken that local people have attended and asked questions that are part of the Restaurant Association, and it's almost like they've been interested themselves to hear it all. So, so I think all the policies and procedures that are proposed are to just make the attempt, and it will
I
be
agree.
strictly an informational meeting because we can't make any votes for it, so quorum won't matter. Just,
Right.
I mean, I bet there'll be interest, so I don't think quorum will be an issue. But if for some
Yeah.
reason we're not going to have to scramble for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's an informational meeting, by the way, even if somebody tries to propose a motion, you can't take that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm
Okay.
sure
And then
Sarah will be
go
there
ahead.
too, and she would shut
Yeah,
down
right.
that
Yeah.
as well. But
Yeah.
absolutely, and you'll be there, Michael, too,
Yeah.
right? So
Yes, I will. Yes.
Okay, great.
There's another meeting I won't be, and I was going to tell you about that in a minute.
Okay, so that's Tuesday, and then just jumping ahead to May, we've got an executive meeting on 5/28 at 3:30. That's the date that I have down, and then a general membership meeting on 5/31, which is Saturday, for the PP&R approval. Presentation and vote on that. Then we get into June with a general meeting on the 14th and executive towards the end of June on the 25th. I think at the June executive board meeting, I think we'll just try and set the calendar for the rest of the 25-26 year. Maybe make no changes, just formally adopt the dates that we're going to meet for general and executive board. The other things I wanted to talk about was secretary ideas. I don't know. I guess, Gary, you're the current secretary. Have you had any conversations with anybody about stepping into your role, or has anybody asked you, or I'm just curious?
No, I have asked around. My first
Okay.
stop was Candace, of course, because she would probably be the next most logical step, since she would have the least amount of training to come up to speed with. But I think she's happy to continue to kind of help out, but she doesn't want to be in the position.
Okay.
And nobody else has seemed interested. I don't know if it's that people who are most qualified realize how much work, what the work is entailed, and they're not
Yeah, I know.
hesitant to spend that much time with it. So I don't know. Now, I think it might help if we make people realize this probably was an unusual term, and that it was busier than would be expected, and that the new secretary wouldn't have to be deluged with quite so many documentation things to take care of. That might help someone who's a little bit hesitant about it. I think someone mentioned to me, and I don't know who it was, that they might actually talk to Susan Schomburg to see if she might be willing to do it.
She might, but the problem is that Susan is often not even in the country, and her schedule is probably not as predictable as anybody else's.
I've actually
Yeah.
talked to Susan about it too, and she is just thrilled with the outreach task force and sharing that.
Yeah.
So plus she wants to stay on the bylaws subcommittee. So she as she's traveling, I think, yeah, I think she would say no.
Okay.
But with Candace helping out, as much as she does with the emails and that kind of thing, and I agree with you, Gary, it should be a much smaller job next year, hopefully.
And I'm willing to help out in kind of the same way Candace does, is, from time to time, if somebody's having some issue with something and it's not working like they expect, I could step in and take a look at it. I see the future of some things that I'm wanting to do are probably just not going to allow me enough time to dedicate as much work as it really requires.
Yeah.
There's so many interesting people in Nesquik. Seems like there'd be
Yeah.
somebody. How about you, Rand? Do you know anyone that might step up? You live there, and you're muted. You're muted.
You're muted, Randall. No, you're still muted.
The
There you
people who I've spoken with are already doing things and adding
Yeah.
something to it. They're not willing to add another layer. So
Mhm.
it's the same people, that's kind of what happens.
Well, what occurs to me is that we think of this as a position that a singular person takes. And of course, we're into that because it's the title and it's in the bylaws and it's normally how we think. But if we can't find anybody, then there's maybe another way to look at it, and that is to take individual jobs or individual tasks that are small enough that they can be distributed around in the meantime, because those tasks have to be done. So it might be a way to at least do a transition.
Yeah.
And that's why what we're trying to do in the bylaws with the communications task force was to offload the secretary from a lot of that. So I think when Gary and I get together on Friday, hopefully, Gary, we can try to do exactly what Michael's suggesting here. And but there's still the one position, and attending it'd be attending a couple of the meetings a month and the minutes. But I know you do a lot more than that. So
Yeah.
Would it be possible to kind of look ahead and guess how many hours per week the secretary job would require once once both subcommittees are kind of have winded down and completed the bulk of their projects? It might give people something tangible to
Grasp.
evaluate. Yeah.
that's a great idea, Alex. I wonder too if we could do a separate, now that we have all these email blasts, we could do a separate email blast just on this position. Or somebody who with an advertising bent could actually come up with something that sounds attractive about running for this office. And particularly if we have people, especially if we had people that could do portions of it already identified. So
Yeah, and take the position perhaps of the secretary being more a coordinator of activities than the person who's responsible for these 10 things that have to be done all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have a couple people willing to do website stuff, right, Gary?
Well, we did. I think they may have. I didn't want to just throw it to them without giving them some direction about ideas on how we wanted to change the website and things like that. And the things that I've been doing to keep up just the normal secretarial duties haven't allowed me to come up with ideas about, oh, this web page looks outdated. Let's think about using this or doing that. And so that kind of kept them from getting involved. I don't know now, if it's been so long since we reached out to them, if there would still be interest there. I mean, I guess we could try again. I think they also, though, were making it pretty clear that they just wanted to help as contributors and didn't want to wanted to make sure that they weren't sucked into doing on a something that might lead to a board position that they weren't expecting to have to handle.
Yeah.
Uh, uh,
Well, I think let's talk about that maybe a little bit. Nancy, you're going to meet with Gary maybe on Friday, but Saturday we're all going to meet again. So maybe let's talk a little bit about that. Maybe an email, out a posting of looking for a secretary with some sort of information about it, and being honest about it.
Mhm.
I do kind of wonder. I have to admit that I wonder. We've barely had a quorum at the last two membership meetings we've had, and so in my notes I was scribbling some things to talk about. Saturation and exhaustion of the community with the number of meetings, and so if you're sitting in the community and they're gonna and we're asking for somebody to be a secretary, and then I mean when I talked with Wyatt because he was considering running for the chair position, and I said there's 7 meetings a month, Wyatt, and then sometimes more, and so that's I don't know, 70, 90 meetings a year or something like that, and that's the truth. And so I don't know. I think we probably need to have at some point an honest conversation amongst ourselves about, you know, when the clock ticks to July, what's the new year going to look like? Um, and what, and that you don't know all of that. We know we have a bylaws committee. We know we have a steering committee and an outreach committee. We know that. And then the county has different things that come up. But um, I think, I think that that's a conversation we should consider having um, uh, before we get
Yeah,
into the new year.
absolutely. Frankly, and I told Wyatt this too. I think next year, I mean, I'm hoping the bylaws subcommittee could meet monthly.
Yeah.
We've
Okay.
kind of hinted at talking about some of this, but really we'll have some updates, some further work on the policies, procedures, and references, but nothing like
Yeah.
this year and nothing like last year. So we should, we're not going to be having all these feedback sessions,
Yeah.
presumably. And Rand, your subcommittee will end at some point here, probably by the end of the year, right? So
oh God, I hope so.
I mean
I
a
know.
December year, just a calendar year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah. Well, with the middle housing thing, she's talking June and July. Guy's pretty convinced that it's not going to be put to bed till the fall. So that'll be 5 years. Uh, and there's not another community plan for probably another 10 to 20 years.
Right.
So
Right.
these are
Right.
two big items off the plate.
Yeah.
yeah,
And it sounds like short-term rentals are pretty locked in. So, I mean, I would hope that we'd be focusing on things like trying to get the watershed secured and, some real things that people see a result from. Uh, we'll have some road improvement things this summer, and then that might stimulate road associations and how the NCAC might help do that. But I think it's more, and it could be more things that actually affect people's lives consciously rather than ours are somewhat subconscious as to how
Yeah.
they conceive of it affecting them. So I think that could make a difference too if you see these two things are kind of functional but more invisible, and then the other subjects are more something that they grasp and want to and care about because they see a result of it in their driving around or what they're doing. I think that could bring people back in, uh, and you wouldn't need 90 meetings to do that. So
Right.
It seems to
I
me,
think, yeah, go ahead, Michael.
well, it seems to me that much of what's been going on in the last 2 years has really been initial organization kinds of activities.
yeah.
And and when people look at that, and I'm trying to imagine what the I hate to use the word common, but the ordinary normal member thinks about such things. And I think what drives them more than anything else is curiosity. And another thing is, does any of this affect me? You know, am I tied into this in some respect? Or is this just kind of an interesting thing going on in this village?
Yeah.
And I think whether or not it's an interesting thing going on in the village is a bigger issue than answering the question, does this affect me? Because once that question's been answered, they're no longer tuned in. You know, it occurs to me that really what we're talking about here is building community, a sense of community, a sense of participation, a sense of commitment to each other, a sense of identity as a community. And that's a bigger term, and it's not an easy thing to develop. You know, the kinds of things that people want to get into on a long-term basis are kind of celebration kinds of things, or party kinds of things, or farmers market kinds of things, or you know, an annual, whatever it is, but something other than bylaws or land use or watershed. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
But all of those things are essential. I mean, they have to be dealt with. That's the nature of municipalities. Somebody's got to do that kind of stuff. It has to be done. But if these other things are built into that as well, then there's a sense of balance, and maybe more and more people would be involved. And that's why I say early on, it's a matter of curiosity. Ooh, who are these people? What are they doing? Oh, I can do Zoom. Oh, you know, and so on and so forth. But once you do that for a little while, it's, oh man, policy, land use laws. What is it? You know, I want to go to the beach.
Those things will be in place, and it'll be more
that's right.
reason to be able to do practical things, because there's
fun things. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, and have meetings that have more, you know, speakers like we were doing there for a while, having interesting speakers coming in.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't misunderstand what I said. The work that we've done for the last 2 years has been amazing, and it's really, really good. All of it, the community plan and the bylaws. I mean, like you said, Michael, it has made, but now I think there's I don't want to say focus, but we have things really in order, I think, and I can just see more things coming to the NCAC, because I think we're functioning as an organization really well. And so anyways, it's just been a busy 2 years, and I you know, we can talk before we flip over to the 25, 26 year about what, and just kind of look ahead and see what it's going to look like. But maybe we start that discussion a little bit on Saturday when we're talking, because we are looking for a secretary, and what we might be able to sort of ethically and honestly say in a publication about going forward for this position.
Well, not only in a publication, Mark, but I think, you know, first of all, you know, your public presence is excellent. I mean, it really does. And I don't mean to pump you up. It's just, it's a good thing that you're there, because, you know, people are comfortable and satisfied and responsive to you being there. And so at a meeting, and I don't know which one, maybe it's the next major meeting, but at a meeting where we've got a large number of members there, tell them what's going on. Let them know that, hey, each one of you folks, you've got a few minutes somewhere that you can participate somehow. And it's our task to paint that out or graph that out for you, so that a minimal amount of pain and agony on your part is, but you know, we need your, and the idea is, of course, is to build up participation. And the more you have participation, then you can identify people who get their kicks out of doing that, and you can then raise them up to a little level of leadership, and then, you know, on and on and on and on. But that at some point, that kind of community development really has to occur, or otherwise what we're doing here, which is essential, is going to just go.
Well,
I make to comment on Michael's comment there is the fact that one of the unique things probably that's different from for the secretarial position from many of the other board officers is that there is the tasks that are just kind of tedious tasks that I'm not sure anybody ever gets the pleasure out of, especially if you're someone who always has frustration working with software tools. And I've worked in the technology industry I worked for 35 years in it before I retired, and I still get frustrated when YouTube or Zoom or whatever, it's not functioning the way you think it is, and something that should take only 10 minutes takes you an hour or 2 hours. And that's just the thing we need to communicate as a reality for that secretarial position is there's some technical tedious things that you're not going to like. And
Yeah.
there's just no way around them. So just to make sure we're not sugarcoating anything.
Right. Right.
And so I agree with both of you, Mark and Gary, that you don't want to sugarcoat. At the same time, I hope we don't oversell the difficulty too. So, so I do think it will be easier, and I agree with you, Gary. I can just have fits dealing with some of the technology stuff here, but if we could somehow, you and I, when we talk on Friday, we're going to have to figure out how we can break down that job so it's not so monumental. I mean, like I might be
Yeah.
able to, if I'm not doing so much next year on bylaws, I might be able to help you out with, if you were still secretary, doing some of the Zoom stuff or the YouTube stuff or stuff like that you find tedious. And anyway, I'll be quiet now. But yes, but I'm
Okay.
hoping we won't have
Yeah.
9 meetings a month next year.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. I say that as a board because there's a CAC board chair meeting each month.
Right. Right.
So,
That's true.
yeah. So,
And after December, but yeah.
yeah. So, okay. Well, that's, I'm ticking off the things. It looks like, community plan involvement. Rand's going to do some feedback sessions. Secretary, looking ahead for scheduling meetings. I was traveling and I was looking back at the calendar. 14 days. Is it a 14-day or a 7-day? And I have to be on that, and we all do it that are chairman of series of positions of subcommittees. So just stay on top of getting those dates and agendas to Gary, which I was remiss for the last 3 weeks. But we'll be better about. So,
And I will mention too that the bylaws say that you have to have that much notice, but you don't have to have
yeah,
the agendas complete within that time period. So
yeah,
that can come a little bit
yeah,
later. I mean, we don't really
yeah,
specify so much.
You can
There's
always
some
add things to,
flexibility.
yeah, you can always add things to the agenda on a moment's notice, right at the beginning, as long as it's approved, we all have the
yeah,
opportunity to approve or reject it. So,
yeah.
The
Yeah.
only exception to that is special meetings. So
right, exactly.
where it's a single, you have to notice the
Single item.
items that'll be, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So back to the bylaw for Saturday, I'm going to
Mhm.
also when I send you the link, I'll send you the folder for the meeting, Gary, to put on that also, that we'll have the latest documents that we're going to go over on Saturday, because we basically have them now.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then if you guys have a
go ahead.
chance to review ahead of time, then we won't have to take so long
Yeah.
in the meeting itself.
Okay. Gary, I'll send you the link to the elections division, Oregon State Elections Division, where I emailed, so that you can just put that in the minutes that I reached out to them. So I'll send you that link. And I think, there's no public comment. Any other comments before we?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
At Christmas, we had our kids and grandkids and everybody there, and we decided for the first time that we're not going to buy everybody else a gift. We're going to pull hats out or names out of a hat and just buy one or two. So, and then do a white elephant one. And so my choice of white elephant this year was 2 nights and in Portland, and the Cirque du Soleil. And my wife and I love Cirque du Soleil. It's a crazy, crazy group of people, but so much fun. And so nobody else wanted it. So it came back to us.
Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, my grandkids.
It's incredible.
I know it, but
Yeah.
they're 19, 20, 21, 20,
Yeah.
and so it doesn't mean
Yeah.
much to them. And our own kids got some other things. So we got the Cirque du Soleil again, see? Now, and 2 nights in Portland. But that also happens to be the night when we have our general meeting, and that's on the 31st of May. And this was decided way back December, actually November, when the tickets first came out. So Nancy, I'm going to have to ask you if you back me up for the parliamentary procedures part of that. Okay. And if I can tune in at all, I will, I will certainly do so on that day by phone probably, but I won't be able to Zoom. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's good. That's good news, bad news.
All right, Michael, good to know.
Is that fair?
Great. Have a wonderful time.
Oh, we
Yeah,
will. We
have a
will.
good
I
time.
mean, Sandy and I don't get away nearly as often just to go do something stupid like that.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, I'm hoping that they grab you and throw you up on
I
the
know it.
seat
I
the way they
know.
do.
They do things like that
They
too.
do things.
Yeah.
It's been here and the reviews have been amazing about it. So
Yeah,
the latest version. So you'll love it, I'm sure.
I've seen them in Las Vegas, and it was I just literally couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
going ooh, it's just
Yeah.
utterly amazing things that they do.
Yeah.
They're unique, very unique.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of their shows, but their latest is supposed to be incredible. So
Yeah.
you're lucky.
Well, have a good time, Michael. Okay, with that, I think we'll adjourn the meeting at 4:36 p.m. and it's today Wednesday. Have a nice weekend, and hopefully the weather will stick around for a while. It's pretty nice here.